Let's go over an update for the Obi Wan Kenobi Star Wars movie. This is mcgregor here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, in case you guys didn't hear the big news just yesterday, that Disney and Lucasfilm put all of their anthology films on hold to focus even all the more so on Star Wars Episode 9 and exactly what the new Star Wars trilogy is going to be, as well as only focusing on Jon Favreau's live-action TV series, which the script is almost complete, and the soon-to-be-released Star Wars Resistance, the new anime-style TV show hitting this fall. So what's really interesting is I want to go over a little update here for the Obi Wan Kenobi Star Wars movie, which is currently on hold, sadly. Now, Omega Underground goes over a very interesting thing involving this movie, which, by the way, the full article will be linked below in the description. They do indeed reference the whole entire thing going on over at Collider and what they had to say about the Star Wars franchise. This is actually where everything stems from. And looking at the Kenobi movie, it actually lost a lot of the creatives, and that's one of the big reasons as to why it's currently on hold. It's on hold as of right now to focus more on Episode 9 and the new Star Wars trilogy, hence the Obi Wan Kenobi movie loses their creatives in the process. So Stephen Daldry, who was the director that was to direct the movie itself, currently I don't know if they had a writer, announced or even like in the process of, signing him on. I'm not quite sure who was going to write this movie, but we do know that Kathleen Kennedy was looking for a writer. Now, looking at the Obi Wan Kenobi Star Wars movie, Stephen Daldry actually stepped away from the project well before the Solo A Star Wars Story release in May. So sometime, not too long, but sometime before the release of Solo A Star Wars Story, Stephen Daldry stepped away from the Kenobi project. He never officially signed on to it, because if he did, you would have seen a big official announcement on StarWars.com and everybody would be talking about it, just like how they did with the D&D trilogy, the Game of Thrones creators. So, looking at Stephen Daldry, the biggest question of all is, of course, why did he walk away from the project? Is this actually a delayed thing that we are hearing about right now, that the Kenobi movie was put on hold? Now, was it just put on hold, or has it actually been on hold and we're just hearing about it now? That's another question open on the table for discussion, because if we're just hearing about it now, maybe it was all due in part to Stephen Daldry exiting the project, and maybe they're trying to find somebody else. I mean, there's so many different variables here as to, what really is going on over at Lucasfilm and Disney when it comes to the Kenobi project. We do know that Ewan McGregor was actually in the early talks with both Disney and Lucasfilm for reprising the role of the Jedi Master Obi-Wan. However, some weeks later, after we talked about that, Ewan was cast for the Shining sequel called Dr. Sleep, where he plays a grown-up version of Danny. So, with that being said, I think that, he called them up and said, hey, I'm free now, the Kenobi project is no more, or it's at least on hold, and that's why he's busy with another project, which could be another reason as to why the Kenobi movie is currently put on hold. Now, I think that the other big reason, obviously, is because Disney and Lucasfilm apparently want to focus primarily on one project at a time, as we went over in my last video, all thanks to Star Wars Newsnet. They want to focus on one project at a time. Now, currently, there are indeed 3 projects in the works, one of which is near its completion, which is, of course, Star Wars Resistance, and the live-action TV series by Jon Favreau. That script is going to be complete in just a couple of months from now. So, looking at everything that has been happening with the Star Wars franchise, guys, how do you feel about what's going on right now, and what do you see after the events of Episode 9's release date? What do you see to come in Star Wars 2020 if the Kenobi movie either ends up getting cancelled or doesn't make it to its original release date? I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, but what would you like to see in 2020? A lot of people are suggesting, and I don't know if you guys agree with this or disagree with this, but a lot of people out there are suggesting that maybe Episode 9 should be divided into 2 parts, kind of like Avengers Infinity War, and then, you know, Avengers 4, which is technically just Part 1 and Part 2, but it has a different title. But I think that they could do that if they really wanted to. Would that break the whole entire format of, you know, the whole entire trilogy format in the Star Wars movies? It may or may not. I mean, it would be a continuation of Episode 9, sure, and it would definitely save a slot open if they ever wanted to do an Episode 10. So, it's really interesting to me exactly, you know, where things are going right now with this franchise, and I am really crossing my fingers that it's just for the best. We do know that they're putting all their time and effort right now into Episode 9, and I really do believe that that is why J.J. Abrams canceled his appearance on the James Corden show. I think now he's, like, you know, working extra hard on the movie because of all this going on over at Disney and Lucasfilm. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.